Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. Today's show is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited to bring to you a dear friend and colleague from Napoleon Hill Institute. We're going to be talking about the power of the mind. And I know that this thing that we can't see is very, very powerful. And today I want to share with you everything that I've learned through my journey and all the studies that I've done with the Napoleon Hill Institute to really have us understand what our true potential is if we can take control of our mind. So I'm going to bring to you my special guest, and I'm honored to have Ahmed Faham. How are you, Ahmed? Welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi.
Thank you.
I am so honored that you're here because I know you have stored a wealth of information in your mind that you can share with the audience. And, if you can tell us a little bit about you, and we'll take it from there.
Well, my name is Ahmed Bahman, and I am a certified master coach at the Napoleon Hill Institute. Now, I started on this journey around 12 years ago. And, just like when the movie The Secret came out, it impacted around 300 million people worldwide. However, I didn't get to see it at the time that it was launched. I initially got to stumble upon it around 2009. Mm-hmm. And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did go back to it a couple of years later. And when I did, I was very much intrigued by the information that I had heard and by the speakers that were in that documentary. Not too long from there on, I came across another documentary called Beyond the Secret. And a little bit after that, I watched a third documentary called The Meta Secret. Now, I was like, okay, there's something here that I don't really know what's going on, right, but I can feel it.
It's funny you say that, because not many people really even believe in The Secret, or probably a lot of people still haven't heard about The Secret, right? But
absolutely,
you got curious, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Your curiosity got you.
Oh yes, the sense that my awareness just kept guiding me to seek more, because I wanted to know more. I wanted to understand more. There's no limit to how much knowledge you can learn, but you have to have the willingness to learn. So that embarked my journey on to basically search for one figure that was in all of these three documentaries, and that was Bob Proctor. So in 2011, I reached out to his company. Back in the day, used to be called Life Success Consultants. Mm-hmm. He had his own life success group of companies. Yeah. And I was inclined to reach out to his company and basically, register onto becoming a coach with him, because I felt this man knew something that I want to learn from because of the way he made me feel whenever I watched him speak. He really impacted my life. I can say that with all my heart because it has made me the man I am today. Now, when it came to me reaching out to his company, I filled out the form, and right exactly the next day, I got a phone call. And I had my caller ID was showing Mark Moffat, and he was featured in the movie Beyond the Secret. So I was blown away. I was like, is this really him? I just saw him on that documentary, And so I got to spoke to Mark, and such a wonderful wonderful person. He guided me through that very initial webinar that we had with Bob before I even registered. Bob, I remember him announcing Mark Moffett as the vice president of sales during that time. So, I was so excited. Couldn't believe that, I'm basically being connected with people who knew the secret and who understood the mind and its functions and who understood the nature of every human being, what's our purpose in life, how to get what we want out of life. I felt somewhat safe. I felt relieved, actually, because I didn't want to battle with uncertainty anymore. I didn't want to live a life that didn't have a meaning or a purpose for me. You basically go to school in order to get to a college, right? To get a degree. And you get that degree in order to find a job, right? That you are specialized in, that you can fit into someone else's dream. I didn't want that. I wanted more. I wanted something that I wanted to accomplish. I wanted something that I can build, not to build someone else's dream. So that gave me a huge comfort that I was around those individuals. Long story short, I did not get certified with Life Success Consultants. I was still dealing with something called paradigm. I didn't know what paradigms were. I was hearing it over and over. Intellectually, I got the definition of it, but my understanding of it was not on an emotional level yet. So I allowed my exterior conditioning, which is nothing but a reflection of my internal conditioning, to dictate my outcome in life.
Absolutely. And the paradigms are habits, beliefs, right? A multitude of habits and beliefs that we don't even consider on a daily basis because we're working on autopilot. I just want to take us back a little bit. When you mentioned you wanted more, when I met Bob Proctor with, in fact, it was called the Paradigm Shift webinar that he did, right? He sparked something in you. He sparked something in me, which led to where we are today. But understanding what he was teaching, we never, ever were taught that in school, right? We were never thought that we were conditioned to do the things that we do and make the connection between where we are today and the results in our lives and the paradigms that we hold. So go ahead.
And your paradigm is a subconscious conditioning. It's a programming that you have inside of you. Imagine a computer that has an operating system. If you don't upgrade it, the performance is going to remain the same. It's unfortunate. And they're basically part of your mindset. Now, what is a mindset? Your mindset are your beliefs and habits, the same as your paradigm. But it dictates the outcome of your life because it's part of your behavior. It's part of your automatic way of doing things that becomes passive without you paying attention to it.
Right.
Now, if you're not conscious of your own behavior and your actions, you can carry on in the same manner as you've always done for a long period of time, whether it's in your favor or not. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It will deliver exactly what the program has been cemented as. But there is a good news. You can change it.
That's right.
You can change it in an organic fashion and manner, the same way that a baby learns how to do things up to the age of 7. You see, a lot of people want to go to, for example, a school in order to learn a new language, for example. But they get to go through the words, the grammars in written form. But the organic way of learning is through listening, through speaking. Now, you can learn all of these things, but it requires time. Now, to change a paradigm, there's only two ways as far as we know. One is an emotional impact, and two is through repetition of affirmations. But you really have to know how to steer yourself in the direction of where you want to be. You may have a goal in your life, but that goal has to become part of your being. The person who has the rights to receive that kind of goal, like you have to adjust yourself, you have to upgrade yourself. You cannot basically ask for something and you don't become in the process. Now, the ultimate goal out of this is not you reaching the goal, but who you become in the process.
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part. As Bob always said, you don't have to know how you're going to get there. The fun is always in finding out.
That's right. You know, and I make an analogy with the kids in the car. We're going to the beach and they're like, I can't wait to build a castle. It's this big. And, you know, they're describing this thing, you know, the big castle they want to make. The fun is in them actually building the castle. After it's done, they quickly bring it down. Like, okay, I'm going to start all over, because the fun was actually building it. And that's the same thing with us. It's the fun of who we're becoming to reach that goal that we have, right? But not a goal that we know how to reach, right? Bob says there's an A goal, B goal, and a C goal. And the C-type goal is the one that you have no idea how you're going to do it. And you trust that this is your goal and you stay on track to that goal. But what happens while we're going through that process, we come across a lot of things in our mind that shifts us away from the goal. And we say, nope, we can't do it. And we give up.
Well, that's just a perception, right? You're just looking at the polar opposite of what you want, unfortunately. But you have to remember that you always have a choice to look on the same side and shift your perception to the positive side of the pendulum. You have a choice to be angry. You have a choice to be calm. You have a choice to be sad, or you have a choice to be happy. You have a choice to give in to something that doesn't serve you, and you have a choice to refuse that and to maintain your attention on the thing that does serve you. But you have to be conscious at all times. You see, with every action that you're taking, you always need to keep your goal in the forefront of your mind in order for every action to become a successful one. The reason why I say this is because as you hold your goal in your mental and emotional state, as you're taking these small steps of actions, you leave an energetic signature behind with the intention of every action that has been taken. Therefore, all of these traces that you are actually sowing into your life will start to weave into a new reality from the blueprint from which you operate.
And then, of course, things pop up, people pop up, situations, you're in situations where it will lead you to that goal because you are so narrow focused, on that goal. And your desire, Napoleon Hill says that desire, that burning desire will lead you there with confidence, because you know with all your heart that is what you want, and you'll be shown the way. Like you said, we don't have to know the way.
And this is the thing. When you desire something so big, the state has to be belief.
Absolutely.
If you're not going to believe it, it's not happening. You have to believe that it has already happened.
That's
happened
the secret,
in your mind.
Everybody. That's the secret.
You have to believe that it has happened, because everything that you see around you in your life currently, look at your room or your office. Every single item that you see there, including all of the walls, the ceiling, the floor. It already has taken shape in a different place, in a different dimension. Everything is created twice, first in the mind and then in physical form. It cannot be any other way. It cannot be any other way. What did Napoleon Hill say? He said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. So with the use of your imagination. Now, what did Napoleon say? He said, imagination is the most marvelous, most powerful, inconceivable force the world has ever known.
And Cleona
Einstein
says,
stated,
I'm sorry. I was going to say, Cleona says, our mentor says, it's the workshop. This is where we get to work, right?
Yes. It's your canvas for life. You know, as Albert Einstein stated, he said, your imagination is a preview to your life's coming attraction. So have you ever gone to a movie where you saw a preview that the movie never came out? Now, when I say that the state has to be belief, Neville Goddard had a very powerful statement. He said, when your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. You fuse with that idea. This union results in the activation and projection of the plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. That new state of conscious awareness becomes your home, from which you view the world, because you are the individual observer of your own reality and your own life. And if you're observant, you're going to see outer reality shaping itself upon the model of your imagination. James Allen had a very beautiful poem as well.
Bring your volume up a little bit. Raise your voice a little bit, because you're saying such
Can you hear me now?
things, and I want to hear it louder.
Am I clear?
Much better.
All right. So James Allen wrote a book in 1903. He said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, the book is called As a Man Thinketh. I suggest everyone to grab the book. It's a short book, but a beautiful one. He had a wonderful poem. He said, mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and nevermore he takes the tool of thought, and shaping what he wills, brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. So you may think of someone or something, right? And you may either, see it coming into your environment the same day or a couple of days or a week later. If you're thinking of a person, you may bump into them or get a call from them. Now, we call this alpha reflections, right?
Yeah.
So you'll get to see it. But as you keep maintaining your focus and attention on the thing you want, you are basically signaling to your subconscious that this is important for me, give me more of this. But it has to be on an emotional state. It cannot be translated by holding an image of what you want. How you can translate this is by holding the feeling of the image which you hold. Because you don't get to attract the things that you think of, but most importantly, how it makes you feel. It's the feeling that resonates onto the harmony of the thing that you desire. You see, we don't. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to make an analogy again, like when you go to, not even an analogy, but when you go to a car dealer and you're looking to buy a car, right? It's the feeling that you go in the car that you want and you're looking at it, you put your hand on the wheels and you're imagining how cool it's going to be when you have this car, and you feel so great, and if you really, really, really want it, and you have that, that desire, that burning desire, and you fuse yourself with this car, right? Yes. It's going to happen. It will happen. And that's what we don't do with our everyday, our goals or if anything else we want in our daily life. We don't bring that type of feeling and connection to things that we really want.
There is infinite numbers of plans and ideas that we do manage to grasp from the ether around us. And it's all on different frequencies. But if you're operating off the frequency of the good you desire, you're going to attract ideas that is matching to that frequency and how to get there. But the sad truth is, that 98% of the people dismiss that idea as soon as they get it, because they don't believe. They don't believe that they can. They say he can, she can, but not me. That's not true.
And to that point, what are they doing? They're looking outside of them. They're comparing themselves. They're making the decision based on what everybody else has done or can do. They're not putting the eyes on themselves to say, you know what? I'm going to do this no matter what. I'm going to find a way, and I want, but the desire has to be there. If the desire is not that strong, that's why most goals are not achieved, because the definiteness of purpose, like why, what's the big why that you want to have this goal, has not been identified. So they disconnect with it as soon as they hit what Bob calls the terror barrier, the fear, the worry, the doubts, right?
And basically the fear that comes out, it's because of lack of awareness and ignorance. It's unfortunate. If you go to, there was a saying in Greece. It was written in Greek term. I forgot the term, but it says, "Know thyself." King Solomon said, "In all thy getting, get understanding." Now, how do we get understanding? There's only one way: is that if we're studying and that we're applying what we study.
That's right.
In today's world, only 2% of the population buy books. And out of the 2%, only 2% of them actually do read. And of the 2% that do read, only 2% apply this knowledge. And that is why we have such a huge difference. Like, the odds are staggering between having, let's say, 2% of the world population, for example, circulating 98% of the money in the world today. It's because they understand something about their own true nature of being that the most are, just ignorant of. Now, it's not their fault, but if you don't seek, you will never find. And if you don't learn and apply, you'll never understand. So it is our responsibility to seek and to learn if we want the change.
Absolutely. So let me take a short commercial break. We're going to be right back, and we are going to discuss, ways that we can really understand the mind on what we can do to, start the process of changing ourselves within so that we can achieve the goals we want in life. So we will be right back.
Now, the vast majority, approximately 95% of the people of all countries, go around and around without aim or purpose. They drift with the circumstances of life, good or bad.
A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind.
Whereas the successful individuals create their own circumstances and ride them to victory.
When you're on purpose, you're living on purpose. You will never quit if you have a real purpose.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. But what I have done has been recorded, it's been tested, it's being taken to a free world, and it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born.
And it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born. We're some of those people. That we're spreading this to the world. As your awareness grows, the doubt is gone, so that you can manifest whatever it is your heart desires. Isn't that beautiful?
It's amazing how our last conversation just segued beautifully into the commercial, because that 98% of people, the 98% of people who really desire more in life, to be healthier, happier, have that job they want, comes down to understanding how the mind is guiding them, and that we need to learn how to guide the mind and be in control of the mind. But I see it as, and before I studied all this, the mind had control of me. So if we can control the mind, I think we definitely can control our life and create the reality that we want, whether it's in the job, in the house, whatever, in personal life, business. So let's just go into that. Like how does the mind, we call it mindset. Bob, I remember Bob saying, look at a thermometer. Let's say your mindset, your thermometer is set at 70, right? That's the comfort zone. And when we want to go for a goal, then that means that thermometer is moving to 72. So it's going to try to get you back to 70.
It's more like a cybernetic mechanism that you set for yourself, right? So your goal is basically your northern star. The more you entertain that idea, it's going to induce you to have certain feelings. Now, get this. I mean, mind is movement and body is the manifestation of that movement. So we have to operate on a three planes of understanding. Mind is movement.
Mind is movement. Movement. Can we just take it a little step further? Movement of what? To clarify for the audience.
Okay. Mind is different than the brain. Your brain is an electronic switching station, but mind is something else. You have as much mind in your hair and in your fingernail. It's everywhere, right? Your whole body is being controlled by mind, right? Mind induces feelings. Now, feeling is vibration. If you entertain an idea long enough, it will induce a feeling for you, but you cannot stop mind from moving, right? You cannot stop your mind from receiving. You cannot stop it. It's a divine gift that you have, right? But you must be aware of one thing. Either you think positive or negative about anything, you will start to attract that because it will give you a certain feeling, right? And your feeling is vibration. So you will always attract things to you that are vibrating in harmony with you, whether good or bad. What did Andrew Carnegie say to Napoleon Hill? He said, any idea that's held in the mind, that's emphasized, that's either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient physical form that's available. Now, the good news is that if you are disciplined with your mind, you can control the outcome of what you attract into your life. But it's your responsibility.
And to put that in perspective, like in my own, the way I practice it, is that if I get a thought that does not resonate with my goal, what I want, and I'll even take it back to, even when with my health, I knew that I didn't want to think about the illness. I wanted to think about getting well. So if there's things around me that remind me or give me people around me that are talking about being sick, I knew I didn't want to hear that talk because that environment did not keep me in a positive state of mind. It brought me down even further, right? So
yes.
It's with anything, because whatever you focus on grows, just like if you feed the plants.
It expands.
So it doesn't matter. And actually, who was I telling my sister this? I said, think of what's the subject that you're thinking of. If you're thinking of getting a new job, but if you're thinking negative and you can't do it, and it can't, you don't have the credentials, it will never happen, right?
Absolutely. And you have to tap into the experiential feeling of the place you wish to be. But it has to be in your state of being, and it has to be believed. It was something interesting when you were playing the commercial. It was describing about drifters. I have a quote that I want to share it. And we've seen marvelous people, since the dawn of time, even in our history books, that have accomplished so much for humanity that they managed to lift. I want to read a small paragraph that describes that and what we should aim for in life, actually.
Okay,
It
a little
says,
louder.
life is like a railroad. The vast majority of people are passenger coaches and freight cars. They perform a useful service, but they cannot make themselves go and have to be pushed or pulled by someone else. Only a few are like the locomotives that move not only themselves, but also countless others. Without them, we would have no progress. Humanity would stagnate and eventually drift into savagery. We are not meant to be in a state of competition. We are co-creators and we have creative abilities. We are meant to always remain in a state of creation. You don't have to grab a bigger slice of someone else's pie. You can create a bigger pie that satisfies everyone else.
That's right. That's right. I always say cooperation and collaboration will always outperform competition. Always.
Absolutely.
Because you're working together in harmony. You're supporting each other. And that's what makes a better world. Being in competition is healthy in some places, but not everywhere. And I think that, when we look at each other and compare ourselves, one, you are affecting your self-confidence, right? Because you're looking at somebody else and you're saying, I can't do what he does. So that brings your self-confidence down. But taking the eyes off of everybody else and just focusing on what you want and what you want to accomplish, now you're in control. You're in control of your mind. You're in control of what you want in your reality. But it's something that I love, the fact that this is what we teach in Napoleon Hill Institute, right? We teach how to take control of the mind. The principles that Napoleon Hill laid out are truly the work that we need to do within to understand how to persevere, how to choose faith over fear, so that we can get to the destination that we are meant to be, right? Where we're meant to be. Drifters sometimes don't have a destination.
And what is fear? False emotions appearing real or false evidences appearing real. The thing between fear and faith is that both of them require you to believe in something you cannot see. So why would I want to give energy to a negative pattern of something that I cannot see either? I'd rather stick with faith.
You just said it. You said pattern, right? Where's the pattern?
Yes. A pattern is in your conditioning. Right. You programmed yourself and you made it habitual. Now, there are ways that you can come back on track.
Of course.
I come across a lot of people. Some of them, they are in a state of basically fear of achieving something high because they have a fear of success. Some of them feel that they don't deserve success. Some of them have the fear of failure. Now, the problem is that most of them are living outside in, but you have to live inside out. You have to see and find out exactly what is it that you want. What is that thing that sparks inside of you? When we speak about a burning desire, if you don't have a goal that gives you that burning desire, then it's probably not the right goal for you.
Right.
It really has to be something that is basically for the greater good, as a useful service for mankind, As Earl Nightingale's, said, if you want to have greater rewards, then you need to increase your service, because money is nothing but a reward for service being rendered. And your ability to earn money is in direct proportion for the need for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty that there is in replacing you.
Yes, absolutely. And I always say, when you're feeling down and out, we learned, go serve, right?
Absolutely.
When you think things are going wrong, be of service to someone else, and it's going to lift you up. We're going to take another quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and really talk about how the mind affects the body, because we know that the mind is the instrument of the body, right? So we'll be right back, everyone. That was a quick one. So let's talk about that, Ahmed. Let's talk about how the mind is really can help us achieve health, because without health, we can't achieve anything, right? It's feeling healthy. I go back to my own little story of when I first got that phone call. My mind just took control. Like every image of me, I was diagnosed with cancer, but every image that came to the mind was, I need to plan for my funeral. I need to do this. My kids are gonna not have a mother, and they took me down a very dark path, until I was able to go speak to the Creator alone in the closet in the dark. So we need to talk, so again, that was my method of coming out of the dark, is really connecting to God for me. But that's how my mind began to be calm, right? Because now I felt like, okay, I know what I want. I know what I don't want. So let's focus on what I want. And that's how I'm here, because I did that.
Earl Nightingale, from The Strangest Secret, he said, ask and it shall be given you, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Whoever asketh, receiveth, and seeketh, findeth, and knocketh, opened. And when you communicate with the divine, all prayers are answered. But the way of asking is not by begging. The way of asking is by thanking, for He has already given you what you have asked for.
Okay.
You see, if I would want to say, please heal me, it means I am already in a state of separation from that healing. I'm inducing that feeling that I'm still not healed. But if I would want to say, dear God, thank you for your healing, then that establishes my belief by strengthening my faith as well in the process. You're not separate from the divine. You are a soul living temporarily in this body and temporarily in this world. You are an expression of the divine, a minute expression of the divine that's individualized. Now, Source, God, He's the supreme being, right? We are souls. We're an extension of Him. God works through us in this world, but we need to be consciously aware. This body is the temple or the house of where we hold God in our heart. You know, your heart is a throne for God alone. The more you are God-centered, the more everything starts to revolve around you, because that is the source. You know, and the body responds to your thoughts and your feelings. I've been through many adversities health-wise. I was in a state of panic. I was a hypochondriac. At a time, I used to go to hospitals all the time. And they used to check me up and down. They used to say, there's nothing wrong with you. But in my mind, I was suffering. In my body, I was feeling like impulses and signals. I thought I had liver failure. I thought I had kidney failure. I thought at a point in time I had heart problems. And that was all because I've been carrying too many negative thoughts that manifested in negative feelings, that I got to feel diseased physically. Now, God is not about dis-ease. When you connect with Him, God is all about ease. God is about abundance. God is about health and prosperity. God is about calmness. So first step I took is I had to calm my mind. I had to separate myself from my external environment and detach everything emotionally from my body, and just be in a state of union with the divine. And I kept thanking Him for everything. Regardless of how many impulses I was getting from my body signaling that I have pain here, I had a troublesome in my digestion, I had whatever it was. You know, it didn't take very long, maybe a couple of weeks, and then all of those things started to fade away. I was wondering, okay, what's going on here? It wasn't long enough that I came across an article about how our brains are neuroplastic. You know, and the thoughts that we think on a continuous basis fires certain neurons until these neurons connect. You know, thoughts that fire together wire together, and it forms a habit. It forms a pattern. It forms an outcome, a behavior, a condition, whatever you want to call it. And it will manifest in your life. So I learned that if you want to keep fighting against what's going on, whatever you resist will persist.
Oh, I love that. That is so true.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
So true.
Focus on the end result of what you wish to see and manifest, but as if it has already happened, and embrace that. You need to be in a state of embrace, because you need to be living in the moment as a state of being. So what's going to happen here? You're establishing new neural pathway connections. And since you're ignoring the old pathway, it will detach itself and it will connect the new, and you will live a different reality from there on. But you're required to be disciplined with this practice. Without discipline, it won't amount to anything.
And I tell you, a lot of this I learned through the principles of Napoleon Hill, right? Because this is not how we do our daily activities, right? Even going to prayer, like I have changed the way I pray. I used to say, God, please help me to get better. And, you know, also I realized through the studying that, as you said, we're not separate from God. We're never separate from God. I used to think God was the ocean and we are a drop of the ocean. And then one day I had this awareness to go, oh, wait a minute. That means that's separate.
Let me put it this way. You are not an ocean in the drop. You're not a drop in the ocean, but you are an ocean in the drop. So whatever you want is within you. Your outside world is nothing but a reflection of what goes on inside of you. But you need to maintain a positive way of thinking.
Mental
You need to be
attitude.
disciplined. Yes, positive mental attitude is key. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions must be aligned. If they're not aligned, then you're out of balance. You need to realign yourself over and over again. That's what Bob called it, was the three plane of understanding. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions must be aligned. Most people, they're thinking of what they want, they're not feeling it, and they're doing something completely off track. That's the sad reality, you know, when you look at someone who is not aware of their own conditioning. But as I keep, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say regarding health, you know, our spiritual DNA is perfect, right?
Yes.
When we get diseases, we have to stop and think, you know, I didn't have this last week. I have it this week. What happened? What did I do? What happened in my life? Because for me, I will say that smoking, being stressed, working a lot of hours, not taking care of me, I'm going to own it. I'm going to own it and say that I was a big contributor of my cancer. And when I go back and I realize what I did, now I know what not to do. What not to do, and to focus on getting healthier and serving. And it's not all about the things that we are out, you know, to achieve, because to me, health is number one right now, because without health, I experienced what unhealthy was, what, you know, and almost losing my life. So God has granted me another chance, because I said, I'm going to change. And change is never easy. But how bad do you want?
How bad do you want change? And what I feel, what helped you the most is that during your time of illness, you didn't remain in the stillness. So you used to tap into, instead of creating a scenery, a horrific scenery in your mind, you were basically tapping into the memories of what it feels like to be healthy again. And the body always follows. The body is an instrument of the mind. Whatever thoughts you think will induce a feeling. That feeling will cause your body to tap into a different vibration. So you were thinking of what it's like to be healthy, and then you were remembering how it feels like to be healthy. Therefore, your body started to respond. But get this, as the body responds, as you're doing your inner work, you will also attract certain type of people who will assist you in the healing, certain type of, you know, medications, whether they're herbs or in any kind of other form. What you're seeking is always seeking you, because you're being a vibrational match to the thing that you're tapping into. You cannot run away from this.
Absolutely.
You become an active magnet for whatever you're feeling, and you'll attract things that are in harmony with whatever you're feeling. And you were having a feeling of healing all the time, so it happened.
Absolutely.
This happens with every person, everywhere, every time.
I absolutely agree with you 100%, because I am the testimony of that, for sure. Let's tap into when people get hooked up on alcohol, smoking, drinking, and, you know, see that, how can they, because I say that when they're in that state, mental state, they want to quiet the mind, and they quiet the mind with outside things that are unhealthy, right? That are unhealthy. What would you advice would you give in regards to how we can use the mind in a different way, not with outside external things that harm our body?
Well, instead of treating the symptoms or putting a Band-Aid on the effects by using certain effects, you need to treat the cause. Now, the cause is in the mind. You won't believe what kind of chemicals your brain can release when you tap into a different kind of imagination. Like with you, the way you manage to heal yourself, and I'll tell you this because I've met an Indian shaman back in Miami, and I had a severe pain going down my left leg, and I thought I was having a blood clot. He grabbed a piece of newspaper, he smacked me on the head with it, and he told me, "You're stupid." And I looked at him, I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Change your feelings, change your thinking and your feelings right away." I said, "Well, what does that have to do with anything?" And he said, "Because your brain will release chemicals that will assist you to go back to harmonium. But you need to change what's inside of you." Right? Most people, the reason why they feel that they're running towards things that would numb their emotions, and they have a lot of emotions that have been suppressed, right? Emotions that have been suppressed will cause anxiety. Anxiety will cause the depression. Depression will cause, disintegration. It's unfortunate, right? It's because they are continuously thinking of the results in their life. They're thinking from there. They can't take their attention off of it. It's because they don't have goals in their life. They don't have a purpose in their life. Those that don't have a goal and a purpose are not living life.
They're not living their life. Absolutely not.
No, they're not living their life. They're in a vicious loop cycle that keeps repeating itself. It's like a Groundhog Day. For them, initially they need some professional help because with the kind of substances they're on, there is some physical dependence. But they need a professional help to have them rehabilitated. But at the same time, they also need a practitioner, either a neuro-linguistic practitioner or even one of our coaches at the Napoleon Hill Institute that can help them on how to tap into a different new blueprint of who they wish to become. Because what happens is, once you shift your attention to the proper direction, as I said earlier, those old neural pathways will start to disconnect. When they feel they're on purpose, when they feel that they're living a fuller life and they have a goal, they have a thing to work towards, a future to look up to. The truth is you're always in the now. It's just the future ideas that you're pulling into your present moment in life, right? You're manifesting it as you keep going on. There is this power. It's unadulterated spirit power that flows to and through you. It's neither positive nor negative, but it's your thinking and belief that makes it so. So when a person is back in alignment and the mind and the heart gets to be in a state of ease, you'll never find them going back to those old habits, given that they are honest with themselves, number one, and that they remain disciplined until they form the habit of keeping that. And it becomes permanent. It becomes part of their nature. And if you see them down the line and you basically ask them, do you remember 2 years ago, for example, how was your life and where you are today? They'll laugh at themselves. We've seen
Absolutely. That. So final thoughts, we're going to wrap it up. What would you tell our audience? I mean, I know what we do at Napoleon Hill is definitely helping people to, really find their purpose, their definite purpose. But I'll let you give our final thoughts.
My final thoughts are this. It doesn't matter where you have been in life and where you are currently. It has no effect on where you can go. No effect on where you can go. And another thing is, we can teach you how to change that. And the best part is, you will help a lot of people in the process. Now, there's another saying that goes, if you want to get what you want out of life, help enough people to get what they want in their life.
Love that.
We'll give you all of the psychological tools you need. We will manage to help you to tap into your higher self and hook up with faith, with the divine, because that's the source of everything. You are not meant to come into this world, go to a job, 9 to 5 for 40 years, and then live on 40% less for the rest of your life, and then you decide you want to enjoy life at your retirement. We're not meant for that. We're meant to serve. So first thing is that we will teach you how to make the best out of yourself in order that you can serve on a mass scale. And that will bring you a lot of happiness, because true happiness comes when you make others happy, when you serve a lot of people, when you lift humanity to higher vibrations.
Well,
When you basically really make this world a better place.
I concur. That's my motto, and that's what I'm living for, is really making this world a better place with sparking change with Gigi and Ahmed. That's what we hear.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ahmed. You are wonderful. You share so much information that I hope people can watch it and replay it over and over again, because what you said and what message we're giving to the audience here is coming from the heart, So I appreciate you. And if anyone would like to contact us, we can be reached at Napoleon Hill Institute. And Ahmed has his Instagram there, or you can go to sparkingchangenow.com and fill out the form. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining Sparking Change with Gigi. Until next time, see you then.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with